evening. Welcome to Shine with Shondell. This is your host, Shondell Wilhite. And this evening we have a couple of great guys on that are going to tell us about their stories and their injustices with the criminal justice system, and also let us know how they're shining now that they are out of prison, and going to tell us about what it is and how it is after being incarcerated. So we are going to bring on our first guest. We are going to bring on Mr. RoShawn Evans, who has been waiting patiently to come on. Mr. RoShawn, are you there?
I am here.
Thank you so much for being with us tonight. Why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself, tell us who you are, where you're from, and fun fact about you.
I'd like to thank you for having me tonight. My name is RoShawn C. Evans. I was born in Hollywood, California, raised in Flint, Michigan. I reside now in Houston, Texas. I'm a full-time college student going to school for a political science degree. I just graduated the community college last May. I'll be looking to graduate again coming up next May. I'm the book author of 3 books. My last published book is called Open Your Mind, which is designed to push people to think out the regular traditional beliefs, the regular norms. The other 2 books are my autobiographies. First one is Stolen Identity, that tell you how I was sucked into the system when I was 17 behind a false accusation with inadequate counsel and no support system at the age of 17. The second book is called The Domino Effect. And The Domino Effect is the autobiography continuation, because when I wrote the first one, I couldn't end it because I didn't know how this particular story would end for me, and I wasn't going to make the ending up. So I left it off on a cliffhanger because I was still feeling the effects of life heavily. So the Domino Effect actually gives Stolen Identity a little closure, and it talks about the one situation that can cause a downward spiral of effects in someone's life, to where it literally, whatever you go through can have your life just torn or upside down, and you'll be figuring out how to repair everything and get everything back together. And last but not least, I'm the co-founder of a grassroots nonprofit organization called Pure Justice that work to bring fairness and equity to the criminal justice system, as well as creating economic opportunities for marginalized groups.
I love it. So, RoShawn, I was calling you RoShawn. RoShawn.
Yeah, it's an O in there.
Huh?
No, I was saying, yes, it is an O in there.
My bad. I apologize.
No worries.
So tell us about Stolen Identity is a part of your autobiography, as you say. And so tell us what inspired Stolen Identity. What happened that Stolen Identity was written?
Well, I wrote Stolen Identity because I wanted to tell my story. What I went through at the age of 17, it blew my mind, because like I tell everyone, I always thought I knew more about life than what I did, and I did learn a lot of things the hard way. And I truly believed as a kid that, especially when it came to the criminal justice system, that as long as you told the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God, that everything would be okay. And I ended up finding myself in a position to where, again, I was sucked into the system behind a charge that wasn't a crime, and I was telling everybody what happened from the beginning to the end with a 16-page statement, but yet Nothing mattered. It didn't matter what I said. You know, nobody cared about the truth. Nobody cared about what didn't happen. Nobody cared about anything, you know, except a guilty or innocent plea. And what happened to me, you know, it really affected me in a way that a lot of people cannot recover from. And I don't want to see anybody else go through something like I just went through. So this is what inspired me.
And so, what were some of the details of what happened to you that that caused you to be wrongfully convicted?
So,
like the day or the night,
mm-hmm.
what actually even happened with you that you were wrongfully convicted of a crime?
So I like to start by telling everyone what the charge is. The charge is CSC 4, which is criminal sexual conduct in the 4th degree, a Michigan case. And the Michigan law states you can't legally have sex unless you're 18 years of age, or you have to have a parent or legal guardian's consent if you are 16 and under. I was 17, and what ended up happening was I decided to hang out with a young lady this particular night, and yes, we did touch each other. You know, she snuck out of her home, and it's a lot of the stuff I'm still piecing together from documents and paperwork, but her mom told her at 1 something in the morning that she can go outside, but she told her not to leave the front yard. She told her do not go anywhere, and you know it was okay for me to go in the front yard according to my legal documentations and paperwork. But what ended up happening was this young lady called me before we made it to her house, and she told me not to come to her house and meet her at the corner. So we did exactly that. We met her at the corner, and as soon as she got in, because I was in the backseat, I wasn't driving, I had older friends that were. And as soon as she got in the car, she immediately went in my pants. She was touching me. I'm touching her. I'm under her shirt. She's playing with me. We went back to the house and we attempted to have sex, but I couldn't get an erection for nothing this night. You know, but ultimately, you know, we ended up putting our clothes back on after we attempted. You know, she ended up having consensual sex with somebody else in the house, which was fine by me. You know, like, this was not my girl, and you know, I wasn't the type to be trying to stop anybody from doing anything they wanted to do. But her mother ended up started calling my phone before the girl made it back home, and I wasn't gonna answer the phone. I took the phone to the girl. The girl didn't want to answer the phone. The mother called back to back to back to back, and somebody said, somebody need to take this girl home. And somebody said, you want me to take you home? She said no. Her mama's continuously calling. By the time her mom stopped calling and we was taking her home, she said, don't take me home. Drop me back off at that same corner y'all picked me up. We dropped her off at that corner. When we dropped her off at that corner, instead of walking in the direction of her house, she walked in a whole nother direction. So I don't even know where she went, what time she actually got home. I don't know anything. But one thing I know is that I was charged with statutory. I was charged with touching a minor, even though we are 1 year and 4 months apart. Like, I was 17 years old. This girl was 15, about to turn 16 in 3 weeks. So sometimes it appears we have a 2-year age gap. Other times it appears we have a 1 year age gap. That's because we're 1 year and 4 months apart. But I got charged with statutory because she fell in the ages of 13 and 16. And since she was in between the ages of 13 and 16, she can't legally consent unless she got permission from her parent or legal guardian.
Wow.
Yep.
Wow. You know, when you were telling me this story, my mouth was just like wide open from just hearing it, because even with all of that, so what ended up, what did the girl end up doing?
So
Saying that got you into trouble.
So reading through the paperwork, and I bought a lot of paperwork, and again, I'm still finding out things 20 years later that I didn't know at the time. So according to the paperwork, her mom told her to stay in the front yard. She snuck away. Whenever she got back in the house and she was trying to sneak back into the house, the paperwork states that her mom asked her, and this coming from the mom, not the girl, but in the paperwork it said the mom said, "Did that boy rape you?" And it was a response where the girl said yes. And then next thing you know, they took her to the hospital, and then a police officer arrived. When a police officer arrived, and she was asking the girl what happened. Now at this point, this is where I believe this girl, like, if what her mom is saying is accurate, that the girl made a decision to attempt to try to get out of trouble herself, but didn't think it'd be this serious to where, like, it could possibly affect me, where, like, police will be involved. Like, I don't think she thought this through. So the police came to talk to her, and when she was talking to law enforcement, she told law enforcement that, this is all her fault. I didn't rape her. What she said, this is all her fault. I didn't rape her. And, like, she pretty much told law enforcement nothing happened, literally. Like, I have the paperwork right here next to me. And in the very next sentence, since this girl was a minor, her mom said, well, she's pressing charges on him and anybody else that was involved. But it's like, involved in what? Involved in your daughter sneaking away from the house? So, ultimately, I ended up going to court. They didn't allow her to speak in court again because she's a minor. So her mom did all the talking. The entire time I'm going to court, in my mind, I'm laughing mentally because it's like, what can anybody do to me? Like, I'm telling them everything that happened from the beginning to the end, which nothing happened, literally. Like, we didn't even have sex at all. I never even kissed a girl. Yes, we touched each other, but we was touching each other mutually, but that's what we both wanted to do. So in my mind, it's like, what can they possibly do to me? I'm going to court, signing paperwork, coming to another court date. And then by the day that I was getting sentenced was the day that I actually got scared. This was the day my lawyer pulled me to the side. He told me, RoShawn, nobody care about what your story is. Nobody care about what happened. Nobody care about what didn't happen. The only thing anybody want to know about is guilty or innocent. And if you say innocent, he told me, if I continue to pretty much tell the truth and say innocent, then I will get 15 years in prison at the age of 17. He said, if I accept a guilty plea, then I will walk out of there right now as a free man. He said, I'll walk out of there with 36 months probation and 6 months ankle monitor. Only thing in my 17-year-old mind I heard was, if I say innocent, I'm going to get 15 years, and I'm 17, which means I have to do my life again behind bars. Or if I say guilty and just accept whatever they want to give me, I'll walk out of here as a free man with some kind of probation. So I ended up saying guilty, not because I was guilty of anything, but because I didn't want to do 15 years. So I signed this deal. They dropped my statutory 15-year sentence to a statutory misdemeanor sentence. And with the statutory misdemeanor sentence, instead of it being a 15-year sentence, it was a maximum 2-year sentence with a $500 fine. So when they gave me my sentence, the judge asked the girl, this was the only time she spoke in the courtroom, they said, would you like to address the court? And she said yes. And she said, I do not want him to go to jail. I do not want him to go to prison. I do not want him to get in trouble or get any type of punishment. But yet, it was nothing she can do because she had an angry mama standing next to her. And that was it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. And so, and with the both of you being as young as you were, and then, like you say, being 17 and being told, okay, quite naturally, you don't know anything about the justice system, how it works, and the only thing you were thinking about was your freedom, per se. And the fact that you agreed to that particular sentence. So now, fast forward, what are you dealing with that same?
So fast forward, I'm going to rewind real quick and then jump forward. So when she said that she didn't want me to get in trouble, go to jail, go to prison, or get any type of punishment, when I went back up to the podium, the judge read my sentence. The sentence that the judge read me was the same exact sentence my lawyer gave me, told me that I would get, but he added an element that I had no idea was coming. So the judge told me when I was a kid that I would have to do 36 months probation, 6 months ankle monitor, and then he said I would have to register as a sex offender. I never ever in life heard the term sex offender before, didn't know what it was, and he asked me, did my lawyer tell me that I would have to register as a sex offender? I told him yes, because, I didn't want to tell him no, but my lawyer said no, I didn't tell him that he had to register as a sex offender, and I had no idea what it was. So my lawyer bent down and he said, look, you're going to have to tell the police where you live for the next 10 years. And I was like, okay, because again, in my 17-year-old kid mind, I'm thinking like, I could tell the police where I live for 10 years, that beat going to prison for 15 years. So I would rather do anything to get incarcerated because I couldn't imagine doing 24 hours at the age of 17. So I signed this deal for 36 months probation, 6 months ankle monitor, and then registering as a sex offender, which I should have been off, according to my lawyer, at the age of 27. When 27 came, I was actually living in Texas. And Texas didn't take me off. So I thought that maybe I had to do another year, and the way I was counting, I was a year off. The next year came, Texas refused to take me off the registration. So then I looked up the law, and I couldn't, I found a law that the lowest registration was 15 years and not 10. So I'm like, okay, well, they changed some policies and some laws, but what I didn't realize that if they changed something, it wouldn't have changed for me because it shouldn't be retroactively because I signed for what I thought to be 10 years. So in the meantime, I say, okay, well, I only have a few more years and I can do this. But while I wait my few years, I had a mutual friend reach out to the young lady to see if she can help me get this off my name. And this mutual friend reached out to the young lady and she refused to help me. And I'm like, okay. And I'm thinking to myself, why would she refuse to help me? We're grown. She don't have to be afraid of her mom anymore. There's nothing her mother can do to her. If she told the truth now, this should be everything that I would need to set me free. And she wouldn't. And I thought, what will make her deny helping me? And then it's okay, well, Now, this is just me thinking mentally. I could be wrong. But it's like, if I endured this pain now for over 10 years because of maybe something she started, I still don't know how this all actually began. Or something her mama did to me because she was embarrassed because she couldn't control her daughter. I don't know. That somebody could possibly get in trouble. But that wasn't my end goal. Like, I wasn't trying to get anybody in trouble. I just wanted my name clear. I wanted to be free. I wanted to live a regular life. But she refused that. So I ended up sending letters, to churches around Houston, Texas, and Flint, Michigan, to see if, like, somebody can help me. And I started sending letters to lawyers to see if somebody can help me, because I figure if somebody had the power to help me, that they should, because it's the right thing to do if she won't. And I figure, the churches can support me and help me because they the church. And the churches start sending sympathy letters. Lawyers and law firms will send me letters telling me they can help me, but I need to pay them $100,000, $120,000, $150,000. It's like, how do they think I'm gonna get this money and I can't even keep a job? Where do they think I'm gonna get this money from? So then I reached out to a few famous people that had talk shows to see if they can bring us to the show, me and her, and allow us to take lie detector tests and tell everybody, like, that what I've been saying since I've been a kid is exactly what happened. But she didn't want to go on the show. She refused every single show and changed her number. We had Steve Wilco, Janine Perot, Tyler Perry, and she wouldn't go on none of the shows. She didn't want to come take none of the tests.
I can see that happening for the simple fact that, everything that you've gone through, and then people would more or less be judging her, like, why, wouldn't you just tell your mom this is what happened then, and none of this would have even gone this far, for the simple fact this was something that was done mutually. She left the house on her own, and the fact that, all the details that happened with you and her and then this other person.
Mm-hmm.
So what I'm really kind of stumped about is, usually when you say you're a rape, they will do a rape kit. And whether or not that happened, I don't know. And they would have even had to do that with this other person, and I can see where that would have even brought more shame to her by saying, well, yeah, I was with this guy, but I ended up with this guy, kind of thing, And so I could see her refusing all of it. But we're getting down to the bottom of the hour. But what I want you to let us know is what you're still, to this day, fighting for, and how peer justice comes into play.
So, I'm still fighting just to be free. Like, everybody, they look at me, they may respect me, they may love everything that I'm doing, but a lot of people don't understand that I have an invisible chain around my neck that nobody can see and feel except me. Like on the outer surface, people know what I go through because I talk about it all the time. I wrote a book, I sell my book. I share my story with everyone. But they see me smiling. They see me working. They see me pulling people up. So they don't know that I still wear this invisible collar around my neck that I just can't seem to get it off. So what I'm fighting for is freedom. But not just for me, but for everybody that look like me. Black and brown people, poor people, people that come from all different walks of life that's experiencing the flaws of the judicial system. And it don't have to necessarily be a case like mine. You could take my case away and you could add any title or any label you want as far as the charge, I'm here working with everybody. So right now, what we're doing, and I know we're wrapping up. I got a note here because I didn't want to leave nothing off because we're working on 4 different programs as of now for COVID-19. So the first program, we have Prison Book Drive. I like to send autographed, personalized copies of my autobiography to inmates all across the United States of America in the prison systems, not jail, but prison. And if you want to send a loved one a book from my prison book drive, the Pure Justice Prison Book Drive, you go to our website, purejustice.org. That's PUREJUSTICE.org. We have a Pure Justice COVID-19 community grant only for Harris County residents. We've been giving people financial assistance due to COVID-19 because everyone hasn't been able to go back to work. Everybody hadn't got approved for unemployment, and everybody don't qualify for a stimulus check. So we know one of the barriers that keep people away from a lot of this is a criminal record. So we want to make sure we're taking care of our people. You can apply for that Pure Justice COVID-19 community grant on our website, purejustice.org, PUREJUSTICE.org. We have the Survivor Empowerment Project. This is people experiencing domestic violence. We're giving away free housing, free counseling, and free legal assistance. We partnered with Community Empowerment Solutions, another local group, with Carvana Cloud here in Harris County. We partnered with another local group called the Restoring Justice, and a national group called the Bail Project. We've been bonding people out of jail due to COVID-19 because, if you sitting there in jail only because you are poor and you cannot get out, there's no reason you should have a possible death sentence because you can't afford $50 or $100. So we've been getting people out of jail. We done bonded about over 60 people out of jail now. The COVID-19 community grant, we done funded about 73 different families. And we also have money set aside for the nonviolent protesters right here in Houston. That's been protesting because of George Floyd, rest in peace. So we have money set aside to bring you home as well.
I love it. Thank you so much, RoShawn, for all that you're doing, being the co-founder and organizing director of Pure Justice, and all of the things that you and your team are putting together as far as Cal, Kedra, all of you. I love what you're doing as far as helping those that are in the prison system and just people in general. I just can't really wrap my mind around everything that you've gone through and what you're still dealing with. I just pray that everything will be justified for you in due time. This thing has been kind of going on for quite some time now, and I know that everything is going to work out because you're out here doing what you're supposed to be doing, and you're helping others, and I just know that the reward for you in the end is going to be great. So thank you so much, RoShawn. Thank you so much, Cal, both of you for being on tonight, for sharing your stories. And you can reach RoShawn again at purejustice.org. And also, Cal, can you give us that? Are you still on, Cal? Can you give us your email again?
K Matthews. Yes, it's at kmatthews@kmatthewsgroup.com.
All right. Well, that is it. Thank you all for joining us this evening on Shine with Shondell. We will be back here next week, 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. And if you need prayer, we will have the prayer call for all coming up next on Intentional Talk Radio. You guys have a